At the start of this year, we bought a bunch of abandoned BMWs, and in those abandoned BMWs was this green 518 Touring. Now, all of these cars have been abandoned for many years, but this 518 Touring actually looked fairly good from the outside. Well, until we got it on the ramp, and it quickly showed that it is not actually as good as it seems. And this car in particular had a very rotten lower half, so it had all 4 jacking points, it had inner seals, it had subframe mount. We then decided to take the tank out, replace all the fuel lines with genuine BMW parts, polybush the entire car, did every single brake line, every single bush, every single ball joint. Everything on this car has been replaced, and we're literally about to do the last 10% of the build. And more often than not, that last 10% can be the longest part of the entire build. Now, this car in particular, we've been waiting for a lot of parts. A lot of that is out of our control. Suppliers are pretty useless sometimes, and these things happen. So the start of this video was filmed about 4 weeks ago, and then you end just 2 days ago, where we got the car back on the floor and driving around the yard, finally for the first time in many years, on its new suspension, on its refurb wheels. The overall look looks 10 times better than I imagined. Stick to the end. Let's hope this video goes well, because it's filmed, like I said, over the course of about a month. So yeah, bear with me. Let's continue on where we left off, where we was having a little bit of trouble with the wheel bearings. I had to buy a new tool. It feels like about 4 years since I actually filmed these clips, so I don't know what's going to happen next, but let's see, and hopefully it goes smoothly. Hope you enjoy the video. New wheel bearing puller. I have needed this for quite some time. After changing the backing plates, everyone said they would cut the backing plates and slide them over the top. I don't want to do that. I don't want to cut any slits into them. Just leave them as they are. But the problem with changing these is you have to remove the hub flange, and when you remove the hub flange, 9 times out of 10, the bearings collapse and you have to replace the wheel bearing. Now, replacing the wheel bearing wouldn't be a bad idea, but it's just a bit of an awkward one, because BMW wheel bearings are all stuffed in there and they're quite hard to remove, and you can cut them and Dremel them out, but we don't want to do any of that. I just want to be able to take it out and put it back in. Bearing out, easy as that. No stress. No putting the whole control arm in a press. Bearing out, and then you just do the reverse thing to get the old bearing back in. Effortless. Wheel bearing installed. One installed wheel bearing and flange without a press. I never thought this day would come where I can actually see myself putting this car back together. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. Torque up these rear hub nuts, both sides, get it all back together. Our Hell braided brake lines look very nice there. I always talk about Hell braided brake lines, and I had a comment the other day that said, do you have a discount code for Hell? And then I went back to Hell and I said, we should have a discount code, because, you know, I'm always using the product. And if you are watching this and you want a discount code for Hell braided brake lines, use Gresswell10, put it on the screen here. Put that into your discount code bit when you purchase an order from Hell Performance, and you'll get 10% off. So yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Hell. And go buy yourself some new brake lines or fuel lines or power steering lines, anything like that. 10% off. If you're spending a lot of money, you could get a lot of money off. So yeah, wicked. And that is a fully assembled rear. Just got to put our suspension in, a couple of drive shaft bolts, torque all those up after we got those, and then bleed the brakes, and then the rear end is done. Oh, actually, we have an exhaust to put on as well. Look at that little pea shooter. Right, move on to the front. We've got all new discs and pads to go on the front. We do have new backing plates to go on, but the coilovers are still not here, and to change the coilovers, you obviously had to weld them into the struts on an E34, and I just want to get the car rolling, brakes bled, all that, and then whenever the coilovers come up, we'll change it all, and then we'll do the backing plates at the same time. But for now, I need to get all this on because Lewis is coming this evening to help me bleed the brakes, and he's also bringing his refurbished wheels and tyres to stick on this car, and then it can basically, yeah, go for an MOT. And these are pretty much the last clips from about 4 weeks ago. What you're seeing here is me putting the discs and pads on, and in the next clip where it takes us up to the current day, the first job is removing the discs and pads because the coilovers turned up. We was waiting about 4 weeks for the coilovers. They got lost in the post. It was a nightmare. But yeah, the next few clips are what you're going to see is the present day. This is where the good stuff is, but yeah, unfortunately, the day was sort of ruined sound-wise because the wind is just too much. Look at that. BCs. How long have we been waiting for these?
4 weeks. No, actually, no, I guess 4 weeks today.
4 weeks today? Brilliant. Surprisingly, Lewis had to pay full price for these. Yeah, you can probably hear that the windstorm is making my door have an absolute meltdown, and that's the reason why we couldn't really film too much in the day. The wind does actually die down towards the end of the video, but yeah, these few clips, it was an absolute nightmare. So, coilover time. I got Lewis to jump on the back, I jumped on the front, and like I said before, the first clip is me removing what I'd instantly already installed in the last clip 4 weeks ago. Now, the only reason I put it back together is because obviously I run a workshop, and to run a workshop, you need it to run smoothly, and I couldn't have this car sat on the ramp for 4 weeks, so I've had to put it together to make it roll around so I can still use the ramp in the meantime. Now, if you're not quite caught up and up to speed, the reason that I'm pulling it all apart is because fitting a coilover system to an E34 isn't a bolt-on application. You do have to modify the struts and you do have to weld them in, which is exactly what we'll be doing right now. Now, that isn't the case for the rears. The rears are bolt-in, but the fronts are a little bit tricky. And during the process of this, you have to strip the original suspension and then throw that away. So remove the top mount. Obviously, don't put it into your face. Do it safely and shoot it across the workshop instead. Now, after doing this about 4 million times at this point, it's not really scary, it's just normal. But a lot of people are quite scared of this, but you saw there's really not a lot of force or movement in there, especially not on this car. If you was doing this job on a Mercedes and you was trying to remove the spring from the lower wishbone, move well away. Those old Mercs are absolute bombs, but it's standard McPherson struts. There's not really a lot of pressure under them. Just make sure your face isn't in front of the spring. Now, it's a good job that we're replacing these because the shock inserts themselves had leaked almost their entire contents within the strut housing. So yeah, if we drove that on the road, that would definitely be the weak link and it would feel absolutely terrible. And the last bit of the original suspension you need to remove is the strut housing itself. Now, I always end up cutting this really wonky. You can clean it up after. It doesn't do anything if it is wonky, but it's nice to get things straight when you can. Now, we only had a couple hours to get this done, so Lewis was actually helping me for the day, but what it turns out he was doing is he was just messing about and locking himself outside the door. What are you doing?
The handle's just come off in my hands. Oh.
Leave it alone! So like I said before, I cut it really pissed, but it's fine because we have a flat wheel on a grinder and you can flatten it off afterwards. This is the most important part about welding these coilovers on. You want to make sure all the surfaces are as clean as possible. Put a little bevel in all the areas. Make sure you get deep into all the casting, because we are welding cast here today. This is not your standard steel. Welding cast is no joke. Cast is basically best to be TIG together because you can get the heat in there. But you can just get away with it with the MIG welder as long as you preheat it and make sure your welding settings are absolutely spot on. Now this is where it gets a little tricky welding these little sleeves onto these cast knuckles, because number one, you have to sort of guess where you think that welder wants to be set. Now on this one in particular, there was a little less wire than it needed to be, so it wasn't welding as smoothly as I liked. Not only that, is because it's such a round object, you end up having to push and pull in the same weld, so making it look even all the way around can be quite tricky. The reason you don't want to stop halfway through your weld is because you want to keep the heat in there, which is why having a TIG welder would make this job a lot neater and a lot nicer. The problem with a MIG welder is you're literally just throwing material and heat at it all at once. You don't really have too much control when it comes to welding big pieces like that, unless you've bang on got the settings, but that isn't always the case, which is why the second one is usually better when it comes to doing these little welded on sleeves. Make sure there's enough heat in there, and realistically, you're going to be all right. But yeah, in 2025, I will get myself a TIG welder. A TIG welder is definitely a must on the list. I mean, there's so many things that I've done in the past and thought that would have been perfect if I had a TIG welder and I knew how to TIG weld. I don't know how to do either. I've never done either, but I'm sure I could probably teach myself how to do it and have a overall better finish on some of the things that I do in the workshop, aka stuff like this. This is more than adequate, and the MIG welder does pretty much everything throughout, like most cars. But there's some things where a TIG welder would just give you a much better finish, and that's exactly what I want to try and push towards, making the finished product a lot nicer. Because if you're not benefiting yourself or bettering yourself, what's the point? Now, time for round two. I was feeling a little bit better. I edited the settings a little bit more, and I thought, yeah, this one's going to come out sweet. And then all of a sudden, something happened which wasn't really that good. There was a fire on the floor. And yeah, I had to stop and start again. But, you know, I still think the overall finished result was a lot better. So I'm happy.
Norma, please! Rubbish. Shit.
Do you know what you're doing?
There's not the fucking spinners in, Josh.
Swearing! And then it was time. The money shot. The most important piece. Yeah. Keep going.
All that 518 power.
Watch the arch. Be careful. Ah, that looks good. And it's got full lock. I think you're going to be happy with that.
You reckon I will?
Yeah.
Oh, that's mint. That is so good. Oh man.
And you got full lock as well.
It does. I'll pay you.
The wind has finally stopped exactly as the time was we get it out of the car. Give it a bit of a wash after all these years. Yeah. Oh, you can see the Oxford green there. Do that again. No, put the light on it. Ooh, she's green. That's much better.
Oh, this is blowing the bottom of the door off, so that's alright.
It's done, Lewis.
It's done.
What do you reckon?
It's the bollocks really, isn't it?
Yeah?
But I've heard on the grapevine you want paying for this.
Oh, paying for working on your car?
You've done on it, right?
What?
And I've already been given a heavily discounted rate from you.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were winding me up.
No. You do have to pay, mate. You know, this is a business and you do have to pay for the work that you have done, regardless of who you are. Did you know that?
Fucking keep it, mate.
Yeah?
Just keep it.
Or if you didn't want to pay for it, And I offered.
It's going to be free because it's me.
Yeah, well, you know, as a mate,
As a mate.
as supporting business, I should have done it for free.
I've put at least 10 hours into this car, so I thought you'd have just...
Yeah, I'd have done it. I'd have spent the month on it for free, because you're my mate and you put a story up.
Yeah, stored it for me and everything, but...
Yeah.
It takes a piss, really, doesn't it?
Crazy how that works, business, and you have to pay the things.
I can't believe it.
But now it's done, Lewis, and you have paid.
I can't believe you gave me 63% off my bill.
I know, how nice of a person that I am. But Ned, like I said, now you've paid, you can actually drive this away finished. Yeah, you don't even have to get it trailered away halfway through.
I can just drive it home now.
That's mint. Yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you're really happy with it.
Yeah.
Nice, isn't it?
It is fucking wicked. It's so good.
I know it's the day before the upload and I need to finish this video. The E34 Touring is pretty much finished. There's not much else we need to do to it. We've obviously got to take it on his first actual test drive on the road. There's a little bit of paint that needs to be done on that bottom corner where we did the welding. We need to put the side skirts back on. The entire interior needs to go back in and needs to MOT it, and to be honest, it needs a machine polish, and I think that's it. So we're probably gonna end up doing one more video on this just to finalize the whole project, finish that up. So yeah, that's the first time I've actually seen it in daylight. Obviously in the last clips you saw us, it was getting dark real quick. But yeah, that looks really, really good. Now I can see it in person. When it's actually fully clean, it's going to be a really, really nice car. Apart from the dirty grey interior, but yeah, really nice car. Now you'll notice that the giveaway E34 is still here. Now I have already put the wiper motor and everything. If you've been catching up the channel, this wiper motor was dead. Now it works. The only thing we need to do now is basically give it another wash because the roads are absolutely awful. And then Arthur, the new winner, can actually come and collect it. So yeah, hopefully we can get him on camera this weekend and I'll do a follow-up video of this one. Obviously we run the giveaway and then I announced it on my Instagram like I said I always would, but some logistics meant he hasn't been able to pick it up just yet. So yeah, we're waiting on that, and there will be a follow-up video on YouTube because I've had a few people ask me, where's the follow-up video, who won? And it's already been drawn. Someone won. Everyone that participated in the giveaway, you're all legends. But yeah, 2 more stories ended to the E34 journey. Luckily, the content continues with the M5, which obviously I'm going to have to do more videos on because you are very much enjoying every single process that goes on with that car. Some guy commented saying you are literally Mr. E34. Just how it happens. I like E34s, but never thought I'd be Mr. E34. Yeah, also anyone that's watching this video, the merch, this one's really dirty, it's all getting sent out today, all first class, so pretty much everyone should have it before Christmas, unless you're the other side of the world. Like I've had a few in like Canada and Australia and stuff like that, so you guys probably won't get it before Christmas. I do apologize, but thank you all for the support regardless. Subscribe to the channel, got some great videos coming up, and have a good Christmas if I don't see you before. Thank you very much. Goodbye.